Hey everybody, it's Truth Dog. Woof woof. I'd like to do a video today telling you about my day. Now don't worry, this isn't going to be one of those boring vlogs about grabbing some coffee, some lattes with my friends and talking about Jim and Jane and blah blah blah. I went to the what do you call them? The shopping mall today, right? Like to do this sometimes. Get out and about with the people. Like to try and see if I can find another real person. I wasn't able to, unfortunately. Started my day trying to do something which I've been kind of motivating myself to do, which is to film the reptilians at work at the local Woolworths. That didn't end up too well. I was using my phone and I thought I was being pretty subtle about it, but for some reason they knew within like 30 seconds of me recording, and I had the manager come over and ask me if I'm recording anything. After she asked the question, I had turned the phone off, so I said no, but it was very strange as I was walking through the shops while I was recording. I mean, these people could just, I don't know how they knew I was recording. I don't think they could see the screen behind me, but as I'm doing it, I'm noticing all these like dead-eyed people just like staring at me like in what's that movie? What's that freaking movie? Inception. I experienced that a lot. I think that there's a lot of truth in that, because it ties into this being a matrix. Matrix, dream, virtual reality, it's all the same kind of thing. And it's so much like that movie Inception. When you're aware of them, they start to, like, every single person is staring at you with hatred. And I've said this in the comments before, that they know when you're recording. It can actually work in your favor, but if they've got home turf advantage, man, oh man, you better believe they're going to very, very quickly try to shut you down, which they did. But anyway, so I left from there, had my lunch, no incidents there. Didn't see any real people while I was in the food court, although there was so many people. Just a lot of organic portals and reptilians, but mostly organic portals, which is like, that's the best thing you can hope for, really, in this shit world. But after that, I'm eating my lunch and I noticed, like, the McDonald's. So I thought I'll try it again, try my luck. See, because I'm testing this reality now. It's like Truman Show. I'm testing what you can and can't do, what they know and don't know, and exactly like the degree of monitoring that you have 24/7 on yourself, being a real person. And so I'm filming this the staff at McDonald's, because they're all fairly suspect. There's a couple of humans there, a couple of organic portals, and a couple of reptilians. So I'm making this video about reptilians, and I see this person behind me, and they got like long hair and a beard and all that sort of stuff. They got the Jesus look going, and I'm thinking, maybe they'll be receptive to this. So I'm audibly, saying this is a reptilian that I'm going to film and blah blah blah. It didn't end up being good footage, but I just wanted to test it to see how they react to being filmed in public. And so this person, he's eating his lunch behind me, doesn't say anything. Ends up that someone walks in front of me, so I have to stop filming. So I go my separate ways. I'm walking down the shops, and I don't know if they have this in other countries, but here it's like just so. It's in every shopping mall. You got those in-person telemarketers. They're doing charity scams, and it's all Illuminati charity scams. I mean, the mall's owned by reptilians, and these reptilians are put in there to bother people, to guilt people, and all sorts of emotional manipulation and energy vampiring to keep the shopping center at a low vibration, because nobody enjoys being approached by those assholes. If they do. No, nobody does. I can't even imagine a reptilian wanting to be bothered by those assholes. But anyway, I see them and I know they see me. So I'm just sort of stopped. I decided to stop and delay it, because they I'd say 99% of the time they always approach me. They always try to get me, because they're looking for empathic people. They're looking for people with emotions that they can feed on. That you can't manipulate a person with no emotions. So they usually stop me. So I'm just delaying the inevitable, standing around, fixing my hair in, one of those, they had like some mirrors for makeup artists that no one was using that booth, so I was just standing there. And as I'm standing there, these reptilian in-person telemarketers, they were like, I don't know, about 20 meters away from me. You know, they were close enough to definitely see me. And at that point, as I'm like doing my hair and all that, make sure I'm looking good for when I finally get to them, because I had something. I was going to talk to them and give them a taste of their own medicine. As I'm doing this, I get the loudest ringing in my left ear, and I've said this before in video, and hope maybe one day I'll even make a video exclusively talking about this. But when you get ringing in your left ear, that's not a good sign. That means that they are monitoring you. I'm not going to pretend that I know exactly how it works, but what I imagine, and I believe I've seen it in a movie, and this guy's crazy. He believes everything he sees in movies, where it's like grey aliens are like hovering over a person, and they got like this little device that they're sticking in their left ear to monitor them and try to find out what they're thinking and what they're planning next. Because I was planning something next, and so I get this thing. And just a little advice when you do get that ringing in the left ear, because left is bad, right is good. When you get that ringing in your left ear, you can make it stop by telling them, "I can hear you. You better stop that. It's not going to work." Blah 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 blah, and it immediately goes and it dies out very quickly. But if you don't call it out, it can go on for a while. But anyway, I stopped that and I think, alrighty, okay, we've got some definite reps here. So I walk up and there's two dudes working there, and here's the special part. That guy before, who I thought may be empathic, he's sort of in front of me now, and he's talking to them, and it didn't look like he worked there. He didn't have the same shirt or anything, but he's talking to them, and I can tell that he's like gesturing to me. So he's kind of, from what I perceived, giving them a heads up that we have one who can see he's coming, right? And so I walk past, and I believe that there was an Indian man, and there was a white man, and the white man was fairly heavy set, and the Indian man was fairly tall, and he had a sort of a large build. And he stops me, and he asked me some questions, and basically I start doing my usual thing, which is saying, oh God, I'm having such a mind blank, but essentially, like, I just point out all this stuff, like, okay, so what are you doing here? You're helping the kids? How are you helping the kids? And I'm asking all these questions, and I'm saying, it's interesting that, your logo is the all-seeing eye. It's very common in these kind of charities, and I'm just sort of going through all the things that they don't want you to say, I suppose. Going through all this kind of stuff. And, within about 20 seconds of me sort of taking control of the conversation and sort of saying what I think about these kind of things, the guy's like, "All right, mate, it's not for you, you can go now." I go, "No, wait, what do you mean go now? I'm interested in the charity, you didn't even tell me, I want to help the kids just as much as anybody, fully aware that it's bullcrap." But I keep talking to this dude, and he starts getting really nervous, and I notice that he's got like very, very dead eyes, and I'm basically just saying, I say at a certain point, "Oh, I get it, making people nervous is your job. I'm doing your job right now, is that why you're sweating and all that?" And he gets very, very authoritative at that point. Basically says that he's going to get security on me. And all I've been doing is basically saying, conspiracy things, and that these charities might be a scam and all that stuff. But all under the guise, all the while, maintaining the facade of being interested, fairly genuine about being interested, because, I got to know what I'm talking about to criticize it. But he really is very, very firm about telling me that he's going to get security, and I keep maintaining, but I've done nothing wrong here. And he tells me he's going to get security. So I go, okay, whatever. I stay with the other dude who's there, who I don't think he was reptilian, but I don't think that he was a real person, more like an organic portal, which is just an empty person who can be piloted by evil spirits. It's kind of like that movie Fallen with Denzel Washington, or The Matrix, of course, where they just jump into the bodies. But anyway, so I'm standing there just maintaining, interest and asking questions. How much is it? $48. And I put it to them, well, it's interesting that, you guys have been helping the kids for this many years, and I don't see too many happy kids around and all that sort of stuff. So I'm getting a couple of light digs in there, but whatever. And I say, well, I don't. I say, is there any literature I can take with me? Oh, no, blah blah blah. I go, okay, oh well, good luck. I might be coming back around. If I see you guys, I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone, okay? So I go off to like the GameStop or whatever we call them here, EB Games. I'm looking in the shop for about 2 minutes. Come out of the shop and I'm greeted by two very, very stern security guards. And I go, hello, what's wrong? What's going on? They say, we've got a complaint. We had a complaint about you causing trouble over there. I go, no, I don't think I caused any trouble. He goes, really? Well, the person you told us that you're calling them names. I go, really? And then he goes, so you weren't calling him scab? I go, I don't think I've ever called anyone a scab. I didn't call him a scab. I said he has dead eyes like a psychopath. I didn't say anything about scabs. But at that point, he's going, well, look, mate, we've got two conflicting stories here, so someone's lying. I go, well, it couldn't be the person with authority and like some sort of like power-hungry attitude that's trying to just like, I guess it doesn't make sense, that's where they get you. I guess it doesn't make sense. But I'm looking into this dude's eyes. There were two security guards, which is, overkill considering, like, what really did I do other than I didn't yell, I didn't swear. I wasn't particularly insulting other than observation about people's eyes. But hey, you can say I've got long hair like a girl. I'm not gonna go get security. I'm not a psychopath. I'm not a control freak, So I'm looking into this guy's eyes. I already knew that he's not on the level. But this is the first time I've noticed because I was so close, and now these days I'm really paying attention. It's depicted in the movie They Live. The Star of David in the eyeballs. It's like the Jewish star. I don't know what Jews have to do with reptilians, but this dude had like the perfect Star of David in his eyes. Ugly, ugly fella, And I just look in his eyes and go, "You're a reptilian." And he'd already asked me to leave. He said, you're going to have to leave and you're banned for 24 hours. I said, that's ridiculous. I'm not leaving. I haven't done anything wrong, And where's the proof that I've done anything? He keeps telling me that I'm going to leave. And I say no. And then he says, all right, well, I'm going to get the cops. And he starts doing his walkie-talkie. It's very much like They Live. Like, he wasn't even speaking, like, any words that I understood. It was all, like, numbers and stuff. He's saying all these numbers. I'm like, okay, all right, well, I guess I'll be on my way. But he starts following me, him and the other dude. There's like a redheaded, again, like a heavy-set fella, and this really skinny, ratty-looking guy with like the Star of David in his eyes. And he's following me, so at this point I get my phone out and I start recording. And I said, no, you can't follow me. Get away from me. Get out of my personal space. He keeps getting in my personal space saying, you're in my personal space. I get the phone out. I say, no, I'm recording this. He goes, you better not take a picture. I go, I'm not taking any pictures. I put the thing on record, I put it in my pants. He's still following me. I'm saying, look, I'm on my way, okay? He's still, like, doing stuff in there. So I figure I haven't done anything wrong, but I didn't have to do anything wrong to get in trouble with security. If these cops show up, they're not going to be human. It's like the movie They Live. So I start running. I'm running through the shops, and I can hear he's behind me. He's chasing me. I must have run like half a kilometer. Big shopping center. Running the whole time. I haven't run in 2 years. So I'm running there. I'm running. I'm passing people. Maybe a few real people because they're laughing at the sight. They've never seen anything like it, and I'm actually happy that they saw something that they didn't expect to see because that's what the world should be. It should be surprising. They should be seeing things that are exciting. It shouldn't be boring and like prosaic and all that sort of stuff. It should be exciting to go outside. But anyway, I'm running and, they'd already asked me questions like, how did you get here? Did you walk or drive? I was smart enough to say I walked because I know that they were just going to follow me back to my car, get my license plates, and it'd be over. I'm running. I make it outside the shops. The dude's still right behind me. The heavy-set one never even tried to run. But the skinny one's running. He says, not as fast as you think you are, eh, mate? No, but I wasn't wearing running shoes and, you didn't catch me. I kept running. I had to make it across the street. He kept saying, you're still on our property. You're still on our property. I run across the road. He finally gives up. Absolutely ridiculous. I go kill some time in some other shops and eventually make my way back, get in my car and drive off to another shopping center to do the shopping that I planned on doing that day. But that's a long, rambly, possibly pointless tale that may or may not depict me as some sort of psychotic person. I don't care, I'm not. Basically all I wanted to do was see what happens when you push back with these things that try to make people uncomfortable. And apparently what happens is you don't have to push very hard for them to call security and have security call the cops on you. I don't know if it was a bluff or what, but I wasn't going to hang around. So I left there. And the other thing is the Star of David, which I'd never really paid attention to, but this is something guaranteed. So like in the movie they leave on the poster, these reptilians, when you look at them in the eyes, it's not so much the slit all the time, because when they're not slit, you can see this Star of David pattern in their eyeballs. And I actually saw another one because of the next shops I went to, more of those in-person telemarketers, and I struck a conversation with another one, not under the guise of being antagonistic or anything. I guess I learnt my lesson about that, but just talking to him about this and that. And I saw the star in his eyes as well. So that's one thing to look for. Star of David in their eyeballs. They got that. And also, they are so sensitive, you don't even have to really say anything for them to be offended. You can make them very nervous very quickly just by being aware. Just don't do what I did and stay when you've already been asked to leave, because guaranteed these guys, they do not play fair whatsoever. So hopefully this is watchable. It's probably the longest video I've ever made, so yeah, that's that. And I suppose, I'm terrible at these outros. I can't. There's no point in making this video any longer, so hope you enjoyed it, and Truth Dog out. Woof woof!